Do you think in your country it's a case where people are very much inclined to the corruption side of things, or can examples from overseas looking at transport be used to help put the message across?
In fact, I would like to ban trips for our bureaucrats to first world countries, because they come here and they see these neat streets, vendors are out, no encroachments, and cars running at breakneck speed, and so they think that's the idea of a modern city. So while you're moving towards that direction, the movement is so slow as to be not noticeable. So it's, unless much greater emphasis is given to keeping, I mean, even today, you walk around any first world city, you see more cars than you see people. And in that sense, that becomes the role model. That's one. But of course, the bottom line is corruption. That's the big driving force behind policies. And they're always one step ahead of you. I mean, if I'm writing a whole epic on this battle of, you think you've won one battle, and how before you figure out what your gains are in that battle, they've figured out ways to sabotage it and introduce more devious ways of exercising the same kind of control and making it worse. So it is large part corruption, but certainly the ideology too comes in, that this is backward, people will laugh at us, think of us as slum dogs if you allow rickshaws to continue pulling, and so on and so forth. So it's a mixture of both.
Madhu and Alan, Tim gave an example of pro-poor policies at a local government level in Australia. Have you come into contact at all with any pro-poor policies which have been successful and overcome that corruption issue which you highlighted? I'm not too sure about Indonesia or Vietnam, but I certainly know India. I know what it's like there. So have you come up where examples where there have been successful pro-poor policies, pro-poor urban policies have been introduced by government? And if so, what's been the ingredient to make that a success?
There's no simple success story, but I think the big success story is the enactment of the Right to Information Act in India, which at least has given an important tool, a weapon in the hands of the most ordinary citizen to demand accountability to get information. But after you get information, then what? Because if you try exposing corruption beyond a point, which is what we discovered, then what you confront is brute violence. So many of us have been beaten up so many times, murderous attacks, one after the other. So it's very risky to do so, and we get away with doing it. If I'm still alive, it's because I'm in Delhi. If I were in some remote corner, it would be even easier to eliminate people like me. But India is, all said and done, a very vibrant democracy, and people are aware of their rights. It's just that right now our politics is in shambles. But at the same time, for the first time, you see civil society organizations, the rich and the poor, beginning to make cause after decades of this relation having been severed. The kind of alliance between the rich and the poor, the rural and the urban, that Gandhi built during the freedom movement was snapped in post-independence decades. And that's why the poor became much easier targets, because the elite sections shut their eyes to what was happening to the lives of the poor. That alliance is beginning to take shape, and I do think, I'm hopeful that we won't let them rest till such time as. And being a Hindu, you don't have just one lifetime to fix things. So I know I'll come back again and again and again. And this is what I tell these guys, don't you think you'll get away with it? Because there's the next birth and the next birth, and you'll be paying the price of these sins, and I'll be there clapping when you. So.
Yeah, maybe I can just come in there. Maybe in Vietnam, corruption is a little bit more nuanced because it's not such a vibrant democracy. But I think we did have success in, I mean, the scheme I sort of outlined, that eventually the national government adopted a national urban upgrading policy, which actually said we will stop demolishing slums. You know, that will no longer be our only policy, and we will adopt an incremental approach. So I think that was a minor, it was more than a minor triumph. I think where the corruption comes in is an important aspect of all of this is giving people security of tenure, because they may have been there 25, 30 years, and basically it's their home, but they still don't have a piece of paper that officially tells them that. Now, a condition of the support we provided was that people should be given security of tenure. And that is a little bit more difficult, because it is legally complex. It goes back to the French colonial time, and then the war comes in, and legally, genuinely legally, it's difficult. But overlain by that, there is the corruption. So that part is more difficult to address.
But, you know, suddenly I'm reminded of the fact one of the most inspiring examples of governance reforms came from this district in Punjab, where this bureaucrat, one of the most outstanding bureaucrats, within a matter of 4 months as district magistrate, completely turned the administrative system upside down to make it people-friendly, corruption-free, outstanding work. In fact, so good that I'm making a 1-hour documentary film on the work done. I mean, he left no scope for it, just that he was transferred out. But the system survives, and it's now up to the citizens to do it. And a lot of these initiatives are coming from within the bureaucracy too in India. Some outstanding people who, when they are in positions when they can actually turn things around, use that brief period to make institutional reforms which outlast their own posting in that job.